Welcome to my channel, Basic Understanding of Anger. The title comes from a book I published, I believe 2 years ago. It's called Basic Understanding of Anger, a workbook inspired by true events. And you can find it on Audibles, Amazon, and iTunes. If you like what I have to say, you can kind of get the book and learn a little bit more. But I'll be talking about it quite often here on the channel now. So thank you for dropping by. I hope that I am able to teach you something, even if it's the tiniest little thing. So today I'm going to read to you here. This is not in my first book, because this is part of a second book I'm working on. And this is called The Two Parts. The Two Parts. And this is our mind, let's just say. The hurt part is the emotional part of our minds. And the solid part is our solid self. And so, like, if you're on this channel, you're probably looking for answers to your behavior. And so our questionable behavior comes from unresolved emotions. You know, if you're not emotionally balanced, it's because you have no idea what your emotions are about. You probably don't even know how to identify them. So I'm making it my mission to help as many people as I can identify their feelings and understand. If you don't have emotional awareness, you're not going to have decent behavior, because your emotions dictate your behavior. So it goes hand in hand. So here we go. Let's see if I can teach you guys a little bit of something. We are all broken into two parts. The solid self we'll call the adult part, and the hurt part we'll call the child part. Make believe these are pictures of two human brains. You're the picture on the left side, and the right side can be anyone you got into an argument or a fight with. Okay? So pretend this is you and this is somebody else that you had an argument with or a misunderstanding, you know. The solid part in us is the part that makes all the mature decisions that bring us respect and honor. Isn't that our goal, to carry ourselves with respect and honor always? I think. The hurt part in us is the part that gets us into trouble. True. We lose self-respect and gain absolutely no honor from our childlike behavior. So if you don't know about your emotions, you know, somebody says something to you and you say something back, and so then you look like 2 5-year-olds, because that person is hurt too and you're hurt. And so in the process, you guys are tapping into each other's hurt side. And so that's how an argument comes to be. The argument comes to be because of that, because this person says something to you and they're behaving like a 5-year-old, or they're emotionally at the age of 5, and it taps into this guy's 5-year-old behavior, and you go round and round. You could never have an argument with a solid person, because if this guy over here was solid and you said something to them, they would disregard you completely, or they would put you in check by telling you, listen, you're being disrespectful. There's no need for that, if they were solid. And then they can stop the fight or the argument right away. You know, no problem. But most of us are not like that. Most of us are operating out of this part of our brain, the hurt part. And then we behave like children. We'll get in trouble. This idea was very helpful for me. For many years, I believed I was crazy. I sure did. My hurt part was bigger than my solid part. I found it very hard to make mature decisions. Every time someone said or did something to me I didn't like, it went straight to the hurt part of me. And I was hooked into an argument or a fist fight. You know? An argument or a fist fight. I grew up in the Bronx. You know, and you could get into a fist fight or something real ugly over the word what. So I'm here in operating out of my hurt side. So is this person. So this person looks at me and says the word what. And then I respond with what? And by the time you know it, we're in a freaking fist fight over the word what. It's incredible, but it's true. We believe that the other person has the power to get us upset. Not true. We are already upset and hurt. We lug around with unresolved, angry, hurt feelings from our childhood and blame the world for it. Yes, most of us angry, hurt feelings are from childhood that have never been dealt with. So where I grew up at, emotions was not like a freaking topic that we all talked about. You were not allowed to feel anything, really. So like, let's just say at 5 years old, someone embarrassed you. And so now you're running around with embarrassed feelings. But you never knew that embarrassment was the word or the feeling or the emotion that we were feeling when it happened. So you put it away because you have no idea what it is. So it happens again and again and again. And so we're constantly piling hurt feelings and hurt emotions on top of each other. And by the time you know, you're just like this big, giant, hurt monster walking around, really, if you look at it. Because sometimes, I could speak for myself, my behavior was kind of questionable. My sanity was questionable. I'll tell you that. So your pile of anger and hurt feelings that you started when you were a child got bigger and bigger and bigger. This is what I'm saying. And by the time you realize that you had something to change, you build yourself a colorful past, one that includes fights, promiscuous behavior, drug use, jail time. There are endless examples of how we behave with unresolved emotional feelings. Realizing how you are building on your past hurt, you now have the choice to continue building on it or breaking it down. So, at some point in your life, you know that things are not working out the way they should be. You find yourself in trouble constantly. You find yourself in freaking fist fights. You might even been sitting in jail for a night or two because of a fight that you got into. So do you keep on? Do you keep building on that and find yourself in jail again for a second and a third time? Or do you stop and you say, okay, you know something? There's something I need to do. Something is wrong. I know you heard of no pain, no gain. That is a very true statement. When you decide to turn around and start looking inward for adult answers to conflicts, you will find you will get the worst headache of your life. And this is the truth. Because now you can't blame anybody for anything that's happened. If you get in an argument with somebody, you're going to have to figure out what happened. What part did you play in it? And when you start doing that, you're going to have headaches. You better have a bottle of Advil with you because it is painful. You have to be raw with yourself. You have to say, okay, well, that person said that and I took it personal because of my unresolved emotions. Once you stop blaming other people for your childlike behavior, you will start to feel pain, anguish, agony, torture, torment, suffering, and confusion. Because once you start looking within to figure out why you reacted the way that you reacted, it's going to take you all the way back to your childhood from the first time. Let's just use the word embarrassed. The first time you felt embarrassed, you might have been 5 years old. And nobody explained to you that you were embarrassed. Nobody explained to you that was the emotion that you was feeling. But when you backtrack it, you have to feel that feeling again. So here you go with the agony. And some memories are freaking tormented memories. You don't want to remember what happened. You don't want to. You have to, though. Otherwise, you're going to keep repeating the same thing over and over. You're going to get stuck here. You're going to get stuck going round and round and round and round and round and round. I mean, it's taking me forever to get to this part here. And for the most part, be able to stop an argument before it gets like super ugly and it turns into a fist fight. Your body and mind become heavy. You begin to feel physically and emotional pain. Really, no pain, no gain. You're not going to be able to change without going through all the pain. When you start to take this growing up stuff seriously, it is when you will start to feel all the above. This is different from physical and emotional stuff you might have felt as a child. As a child, you had no choice in what has been said or done. Now, as an adult, the choices is yours to make. So with this little worksheet that I put together, right, this little example, I also included, a writing, but can't do the writing over the internet, so you have to get your own paper. But I included some questions here to help you identify the last time you got in an argument or a misunderstanding with someone. So question number 1, I'll read it slow in case you want to write it down. Do you understand the difference between the solid side of your mind and the hurt part? Number 2, what side of your mind would you like to see grow? Do you want to continue growing this hurt part so that it gets so big and it is going to completely blind and take over your solid self? I would say no, especially if it's getting us in trouble and we're not really getting very far in life. I would say that you want to understand this part and then have this solid part overshadow the hurt emotional side. Number 3, how hard are you willing to push for new growth? That's a question that you really have to answer, because up here, no pain, no gain. You can't grow emotionally without the crying, without possibly throwing up your guts because you remembered something you didn't like, without going back and questioning your family members that had to do with your growth, with your emotional growth, childhood traumas and stuff. You have to push through it. If you want to change, you have to push through it. And you have to go back and ask people from your childhood, why did you do that? Like, what were you thinking? And let them explain, because you know something? Everyone, doesn't matter your age. If you never take time to understand who you are, you're going to be stuck here. So if you have adults in your life that did something to you, you might want to have some mercy for them, some compassion, because you know something, they didn't know any better. And number 4, are you ready for the pain? And with these questions, you have to be raw with yourself, completely raw. Because you're not going to get from A to B without some kind of upset. You're going to get a headache for sure. You're going to have memories for sure. You're not going to like them. But it's your job as an adult now, or whatever age you're in right now, to start making the changes necessary so that you could live a healthier life, so that you can grow as a respectful adult and carry yourself with dignity. Because even though we are hurt, and let's just say we had a challenging childhood, it's our job as adults to fix it now, to stop blaming the generation before. Stop blaming this guy or that guy or the co-worker or the crazy boss, whoever. It's your job now to fix it, fix yourself. So I really hope that you get something out of this. I will be making videos every Saturday with different topics. If you like what I have to say, you can leave me a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Like and subscribe. And I wish you the best. Don't give up. Life is a journey. Live it with an open mind, integrity, and a never-ending desire to learn. Thank you for visiting.